Mr. Manchin, no.
Democratic Senator Joe Manchin voted against the Women's Health Protection Act that would have essentially codified abortion rights into law. Now, in this video, I will go over why. I will show you some video of his reasoning or lack thereof. I'll also show you the vote and a discussion that went on between Manchin and Schumer that I'm not really sure what they talked about, but you see they talked after his vote. And also VP Harris's thoughts on all of this as well. Now, first I will say, even if they had Manchin's vote, this would not have passed. They need 60 votes. This was more of a symbolic gesture. And even on that, Manchin could not vote with Democrats. So first, let me play you his reasoning, and then I'll get into discussing a little more.
We're going to be voting on a piece of legislation which I will not vote for today. But I would vote for a Roe v. Wade codification if it was today. I was hopeful for that, but I found out yesterday in caucus that wasn't going to be.
All right. Joe Manchin, just always full of shit. So to be clear, this is why he voted against this. Again, just a symbolic vote, was not consequential, but it's because his state now loves him even more because his support now is coming from Republicans. So this is polling done very recently. Manchin has seen the biggest gains out of anybody in their approval rating. So a 16-point increase in his approval rating since or during Joe Biden's presidency. All because of the way he's treating Joe Biden. Basically being, or at least his job currently, to be the guy that obstructs everything. Now, there's always a debate about whether or not Democrats actually want to do anything here, whether they're just using people like Manchin and Sinema as the villains here, and if it weren't them, it'd be somebody else that wouldn't be voting. Sure, I really don't care personally what the whole going on there. All I want to show you is that Manchin is doing this because he's a Republican in terms of where his support is coming from, and that Biden and Harris and Democratic leadership, if they did care, they would be doing a lot more to fight him, at the very least, to try and eliminate the filibuster, which would then only require 50 votes for something like this to pass. You see right now how Republicans are fighting Madison Cawthorn because he dared to mention their bedroom escapades and use of white powder. That's all Cawthorn did. And that party is trying to destroy him. Yet Manchin blocking Biden's, essentially his entire agenda, Build Back Better, this, voting rights. I mean, go down the list. With him not supporting the elimination of the filibuster, he's essentially blocking Biden's entire agenda. And they are doing nothing to fight him. So whatever the reasoning there is, whether Biden or Democratic leadership cares or not to pass anything, to me, that doesn't matter. I just want to show you that they are not doing anything. They are allowing this to continue. Now, on the actual bill, Manchin there tries to claim this is not about codifying, Roe v. Wade, but to him, it goes too far. It has too many health protections. That's his issue with this. So first here from ABC News, WHPA is a bill that aims to codify Roe v. Wade, the landmark decision that grants protections for a woman's right to abortion at the federal level. The bill prohibits governmental restrictions on access to abortion services, according to the Congressional Research Service. And I will link to the bill below the video. You can go through it. This is the bill right here. So they mention this is what else the bill does. In addition, governments may not require patients to make medically unnecessary in-person visits before receiving abortion services or disclose their reasons for obtaining such services. Or 2, prohibit abortion services before fetal viability or after fetal viability when a provider determines the pregnancy risks the patient's life or health. The bill also prohibits other governmental measures that are similar to the bill's specified restrictions or that otherwise single out and impede access to abortion services, unless a government demonstrates that the measure significantly advances the safety of abortion services or health of patients and cannot be achieved through less restrictive means. So basically, proper abortion rights, proper health care protections. That's why Manchin apparently is against this. because it's actually good. Now, again, doesn't matter. They would need 60 votes regardless, but just symbolically, he's doing this for his Republican base in West Virginia as a Democratic senator. He needs that base if he's going to win the next election. And even then, he'll still probably lose. I mean, why would you pick a Republican light when you can get the real thing? But we will see. Maybe they like how Manchin's pissing off the Democratic base. So on what happened here. So this is the vote, Manchin's vote. You're going to hear it. And then I'm going to cut to the discussion that apparently happened between Manchin and Schumer.
Mr. Manchin, no.
On this vote, the yeas are 49, the nays are 51. 3/5 of the senators duly chosen and sworn not having voted in the affirmative. The motion is not agreed to.
All right, so you saw there that discussion that took place between Manchin and Leader Schumer in the Senate. Who knows? I mean, Manchin was already up front about how he wasn't going to vote. That's the video I showed you earlier. I'm not sure what there would have been to discuss there on the floor, but regardless, they had some kind of discussion. And then you saw Kamala Harris react to the vote there. Now, before I get to Harris's video of what she's saying the next step should be, here is a response from the White House, Joe Biden, saying, once again, as fundamental rights are at risk at the Supreme Court, Senate Republicans have blocked passage of the Women's Health Protection Act, a bill that affirmatively protects access to reproductive health care. This failure to act comes at a time when women's constitutional rights are under unprecedented attack, and it runs counter to the will of the majority of American people. Yeah, so this is a similar message echoed by Harris, but she says a little more. And I also want to quickly address questions coming from the press while she is leaving. So check this out.
I just presided over the Women's Health Protective Act vote, and sadly, the Senate failed to stand in defense of a woman's right to make decisions about her own body. And let's be clear, the majority of the American people believe in defending a woman's right, her choice, to decide what happens to her own body. And this vote clearly suggests that the Senate is not where the majority of Americans are on this issue. It also makes clear that a priority for all who care about this issue, a priority should be to elect pro-choice leaders at the local, the state, and the federal level. Because what we are seeing around this country are extremist Republican leaders who are seeking to criminalize and punish women for making decisions about their own body.
Madam President, why not have compromised with Murkowski and Collins, Madam Vice President?
All right, so I want to address quickly the press there at the end asking, again, these people are so in a bubble. It is amazing. Asking Harris there, why not partner with Susan Collins and Murkowski on their bill, their version? This is why. It wouldn't pass anyways. And it would also then give them cover in their states. So they would still need 60 votes for whatever the hell Collins and Murkowski are cooking up. And so if they agree to support that, then what? You have 52 votes. Okay. What now? Now you've given cover to 2 Republican senators in their states where they can still say, I support this. I support Roe v. Wade. I had this vote, and still be able to, shave off several Democratic suburban voters in their state to be able to keep their seats. So it would be completely stupid for them to work with Collins and Murkowski on their bill when it's not going to pass anyways, and all it would do is help them. Now, on her advice here, got to vote in more pro-choice Democrats. You have to look. Sure, vote. Great. Is that message from her? Is that going to now lead to more people voting? It may. I mean, that message won't, but what is happening right now with Roe v. Wade may turn some people. I covered last week a Trump voter a high-profile Trump voter, Dave Portnoy, I think his name is. He's like a sports journalist, sports blogger. He voted for Trump in 2016. Now he's saying this is making him support Democrats. So those people who were, I guess, a little clueless to what Trump could do and now regret that vote, you may get some of those people now supporting Democrats because they see how serious this is and they do support a woman's right to choose, and that's good. Accept those people in. They're going to vote. Great. But to get the numbers you really need, to get the typical non-voters out to vote, those are the people that Democrats have to be able to target. To target those people and actually get them out, you have to be delivering something while you were in power. Biden, president, Congress, Democrats. Now, I understand Manchin, Sinema, or in my case, I really think the issue is Biden, Harris, and leadership. But apart from that, Biden has executive orders that he could be passing. There was a recent list sent out, I think it was like 50 executive orders from the Progressive Caucus or some progressives in Congress that sent that to Biden. There are things he can do. Take cannabis out of a Schedule I drug. Cancel student debt. There's two right there that would actually help to encourage people to come out to vote because they can think, hey, I actually got something. My life saw some improvement while these people were in power. I want to continue supporting them. Or I want to now go out to support them. I haven't voted for a while. I want to go out to support them now because they actually delivered something. And maybe there's more, student debt relief on the way or whatever it is. So there are ways to actually encourage people out to vote, but they're not doing it. Also, on that point I made earlier, or that Harris made earlier about support pro-choice Democrats. Yeah, great. Right now you have Nancy Pelosi, Democratic leader in the House, trying to save anti-choice Democrat Henry Cuellar in Texas. He has a primary challenge against Jessica Cisneros, who is pro-choice, a fantastic candidate, almost beat him last time, came within, I think, 2 points of beating him last time. They could easily support Cisneros, but instead they are backing this anti-choice Democrat. Now, Harris, as someone that is saying, hey, you should support pro-choice candidates. Okay, why aren't you coming out to endorse Jessica Cisneros over Henry Cuellar? Why is the vice president and the president, why are they afraid of taking this on? If they cared that much, they would be willing to offend people in their own party to actually do what they say is so important. But they either don't care or they do care, but not enough to make themselves feel uncomfortable around leaders like Nancy Pelosi and Clyburn and others in the leadership that are backing Cuellar. It's disgusting, but that's the party. They're either incredibly weak, corrupt, or ultimately, I think, a little of both.